This is the Alt-Right Show. And welcome back to another Alt-Right Show with Center-Right Federation and America. You can unmute yourselves now, folks.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, Center-Right's still muted. You can unmute
Yo, what up?
Yeah,
what up, guys?
There is everyone. So so now we've decided to do another show, a new week. So what's basically the plans? I did mention cuckoldry earlier before we started recording.
Oh yeah, the cuckold and Bell and the
cuckold.
See, here's the thing. This is something I've learned about conservatives and alt-righters. The reason why many people have joined the far right is usually because they've done their own research. They conducted their own research and opened their eyes to something new. The thing about mainstream conservatism is that, well, what can I say? They're just cucks.
Yeah, of course they are. They're just disgusting degenerates.
Cucks.
Cucks.
They're basically leftists from the 70s.
The Trotskyites.
Fuck neocons.
Sorry about that. I had to get my cell phone real quick so we can do drops and everything.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But see, the thing about arguing with leftists, the reason why I think it's not worth it is because
they have no brains, no education, and no future.
Oh, of course they don't, man. It's just
yeah.
Well, I did get like a question from like a communist. He said we don't distinguish leftists from Marxist enough. We just throw them all as one group.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of cucks, Zuckerberg's going to meet with Glenn Beck and a former Bush official, but he's going to ignore the real media like Drudge or InfoWars.
Wow.
So he's gonna invite Glenn Beck and a Bush official, but he's gonna ignore the alternate media.
The people who may like
I hate Mark Zuckerberg. He silences any criticism of Islam, even though he gets death threats from ISIS every single day.
Yeah, people like Zuckerberg and all of them, and the Maker Bell and the Bullocks, they're all down.
And he made a pact with Angela Merkel. Yeah, he also made a pact with Merkel, by removing any post that criticizes the refugees.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and they hire like a former Stasi officer or something for that.
Yeah,
because Germany didn't allow refugees.
No, Germany let in a lot of refugees. They're like a rape.
Oh, so you know how you said that somebody said that we don't distinguish Marxists from leftists?
From the rest of the left.
The reason why we call out leftists as a whole is because it's not just Marxists who carry out. It's usually all the others that are the exact same way.
We could say like classical Marxists, like Manuel and all of them, are separate from the rest. People who actually care about their position rather than just identity politics and muffiels and degenerate practices. Those kind of communists, I really don't seem to like mind them as much, but they're still like opposed to our values. So it's to a degree like economically. So they're.
Oh yeah, British students demand LGBT-only accommodation, inspired by Obama's demand for transgender bathroom rights.
Ugh, this whole transgenderism thing's retarded. It's all a mental disorder.
You know, it's kind of like the old South enforcing Jim Crow laws, but because the LGBT activists want to be segregated from straight people.
Yeah, speaking about about transgenders and all that stuff, and you know how we mentioned classical Marxists earlier?
Yeah.
So you know how you say that like many of these classical Marxists tend to be opposed to identity politics? Aren't most of them anti-trans as well?
Yeah.
That's probably where I could get along with them.
And even Marxist.org is against homosexuality, I think. But the thing is, the catch is, they're also against the traditional family, so they're really messed up. Because they want to break down all institutions to open it up for the, socialism. To have a violent revolution, because they need to.
That's true.
They're messed up.
See, me and Delta, we also talked about like the whole anti-family agenda of the left. See, the reason being why leftists tend to be like opposed to basically the family is not due to the fact that the family is a patriarchal institution or kids and women are abused. It's because normally many of these leftists do not have families of their own, so they're just like pissed off about it.
Yeah, they're jealous.
Basically.
And also, I think it's because if a lot of leftists, they don't really care about like how they look, so they think like a lot of them look like AIDS Skrillex and stuff.
Of course they do. They're degenerates.
Because they have too much AIDS.
I was watching this Alex Jones thing that America sent me. It goes, it's interesting so far. Apparently, I didn't get to the point where he starts talking about the whole, like, what is it? One of the Nickelodeon show writers wants trying to sexualize children, and like that's the title of it or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but
yeah. Here's the thing: a lot of those a lot of these corrupt companies tend to be like trying to corrupt children sexually.
I'm gonna say when we do the next alt-right show, see like down in the comment section, like put questions you have for us and we'll get around to it.
Also, here's another thing: political. Obama will push transgender identity rules on all K-12 schools.
Ugh, I'm glad I'm out of that.
Barack Obama.
See, this is why everybody's excited that Barack Obama is going to be out of the White House.
Because
if we were to just be in 4 more years with Obama, it'll just result in a freaking nuclear war or a civil war.
Yeah, or like a military coup, but he purged them.
Let's talk about that one show that me and America were talking about, where it's like the cucks and all that.
Bullet in the blue gold?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give like my formal opinion before we start talking about it's my
just fucking oven that whole fucking studio.
it's just get him. Yep. I just don't. It's just.
Enoch speaks the truth.
Yeah, that's what Tom said. Cause I put just.
But we need to get him on sometime. But
yeah, we could try to we could try to like collaborate with the whole everyone who does that show.
That's a good idea. Oh, yeah, you see anyway, guys for my thing?
No.
Let's talk about the cucks. I'm gonna go look this whole thing up first.
Yeah, you look it up. I'm not gonna look it up. I don't want to mess with.
Well, send me links to articles I can look at on it.
Oh, okay. On that topic specifically, right?
Yes. Well.
Well,
okay. I got a Facebook message. We can hold a debate. Okay. We're gonna do a debate in a bit. Let's talk about this thing first.
Who we're gonna debate?
I'm gonna bring a guest on so we can do like a little debate session real quick.
Okay, let me send it in a PM on here.
Send me the article.
Here it is. I got it right there. Oh, you want to see the Encyclopedia Dramatica? The Encyclopedia Dramatica.
Oh, okay. So let's get to the top. Let's get onto this topic thing. Oh, you sent me to the Infowars. You sent it to me on Infowars. All right. The Infowars thing. All right.
That's the best site. There's also the Daily Storm, but they're like blaming Jews for it. For some reason.
That's edgy as heck, man.
The Daily Storm.
I tried to distance myself from the 1488 neo-Nazi crowd.
Yeah, and also the Daily Stormer. I honestly do think it's run by the ADL.
I wouldn't be surprised because I mean, who takes pride in calling themselves neo-Nazis when Nazis during back in the day never called themselves Nazis?
Look at this freaking white kid. He's like skinny as like a toothpick. The black kid's like all big and shit. Oh my gosh, it's freaking weird.
Some would say this is just a conspiracy theory, but the truth is it's not, because the guy has made a movie.
Whoa, I'm looking at the little quote lines. I don't want to. I'm gonna like read.
Major.
Okay, America. I'm gonna read this real quick.
Okay.
It's gonna say the name of the show. Yeah, Belle and the Bulldogs. A black man who has sex with a white woman while her husband watches, referred to as the bull in cuckold subculture. Duh. Belle and the Bulldogs seems to be fixated on bulls, despite the fact that the football team is named after a breed of dog. In promo shots, Belle's hair usually covers the word dogs on her shirt, making it appear to just read bull. Oh, that's like total. That's wow. What a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like they're trying to cuck people with this.
Yeah, dude, it's honestly just.
Apparently, there's like a poster of her with like a white baby crossed out. That's like that's like racist towards white people. But oh no, they're white privilege. Who cares?
Yep, because apparently it's only okay for you to be racist unless it's only against whites.
Yeah, all the blacks depicted in the series are it says all the bad kids, not the black, sorry. All the bad kids depicted in the series are white with southern accents. Totally not racist, guys. Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine if they put a show that says, "Yo, what up, dog?" and it shows a bunch of black people?
Dude, this is literally cuckoldry, bro.
Yeah.
Blinding. Oh, wow. This is totally not cuckoldry at all, mate.
Keep reading it. Keep reading, because I want everyone to know how messed up this show is.
Can I just link it? I don't even want to go on to this.
Link it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just. I'll link it down below, and then we're gonna bring in our guests for a little debate. It's gonna be okay. So it's.
Who's this guest?
Who is this guest? So I know Google's gonna make a new Hangout, but it's just gonna be. I know Google's just so retarded like that.
Is this person a commie? Or I don't know.
He's not a degenerate. We'll know that.
Okay, that's good.
Oh yeah, he's a classical Marxist, right? I know.
Leftist. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Manuel?
Hey, what's up, guys? I haven't talked to you guys in a long time.
Yeah.
Is this Manuel Noriega? No, I'm joking.
What's up?
Hey, Manuel. So like you being a Marxist, and I know you're not a fan of the identity politics and stuff like that. So what do you think of trans?
What do you mean, like transgenderism?
Like that whole system and philosophy.
I think that it's a mental health issue, and they need treatment, not enabling. You know, I think that part of it is a result of this like hedonistic, consumer society. But not everything can be blamed on conditions people live in. I mean, I don't hate them. I think that they're a product of the problem. They're not the problem themselves.
Sounds interesting.
So, does anyone have any economic kind of questions or anything?
Not really.
I mean, what's your guys' stances on the trans?
Pretty much the same thing as yours.
Yeah, pretty much the same as yours as well.
There's a problem that's causing the issue itself. I don't want to entertain this mental problem.
Yeah, I mean, because it's almost kind of like what Vlad talked about in Friday Night Shitposting. It's almost like a guy going to the doctor, like a heroin addict, telling the doctor, "Hey, I have imaginary bugs. I have bugs crawling in my skin, and there's really nothing." The doctor's not going to say, "Yeah, sure, I'm just going to cut these imaginary bugs off your skin."
What about ask him what his view on that dumb show.
I don't think have you even. So what we were talking about earlier about apparently the show that's promoting cuckoldry. It was like some
what?
Like this Belle and the Bulldog scene. There was like an article that came from I know it sounds pretty dumb. It comes from like Alex Jones, so it doesn't sound too reputable. But that's the only I think America could find on this whole matter so far.
And it makes sense. And like if you watch a show he's pretty hard. The hard evidence. And also I should say it's not Alex Jones that wrote it. It was Paul Joseph Watson.
Do you think that racism is power plus privilege, or do you think that you could just be racist towards anyone?
Okay, this is a lot of questions at once. Let's
go racism. Like first, we'll start with the racism.
Okay, first racism. I mean, power plus privilege. I mean, I think that's like I don't know what you guys call it. I guess you guys would call them social justice warriors, but I mean, I don't really like that term.
Neo-progressives or whatever. Cultural Marxists.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of an aspect of like these progressives or whatever that are like redefining words to fit their agenda. Redefining, like the definition of sex and gender, right?
Yeah.
Like redefining a bunch of stuff. I don't think that racism has anything. It can be eluded. It can be associated with like chauvinism because of privilege. Like, I mean, like America, segregation America, I mean, obviously whites had more privilege over blacks. They were richer. I mean, blacks had just come out of slavery. So, I mean, it's not, that was, I mean, privilege, plus, like, bigotry, but the reason they frame it that way is because they don't want to entertain the fact that, like, colored people can be racist.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Which is nonsense. I mean, you can't just redefine the word racist to, like, so it fits with your victim complex view of the world, you know? A lot of these first world, like, race, these leftists that are obsessed with race, like the black nationalists and whatever, and, like, the Chicano people, I mean, that's all that is. It's their...
Black Lives Matter or whatever.
Making up oppression, yeah, you know?
Compared to, like, from your Marxist view on other areas of, like, the world where there actually is problems and...
Yeah, you know, these people seem to, they're just dishonest. I mean, they're just intellectually dishonest. I mean, they talk about imperialism or whatever, and then, but, like, the white people, like, this is just in America, for example, like, whites are some, like, occupying nation that occupies, like, a black or a Chicano nation. That's not how imperialism works. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's no, I don't know, it's hard to, because their view is so ridiculous, their, like, perspective, they don't like to admit that, like, they benefit just as much as white people do, you know, from, like, empire. They have to create this image of themselves, you know, this victim complex that they have, you know, they play, you know, oppression Olympics, you know. To them, building the new society isn't about, you know, like, progress and, like mankind striving for the best and upholding the best in people. It's about, you know, who can be the most oppressed, you know, who can be, you know, the black transgender midget. You know what I mean?
It's retarded. It's nonsense.
Like, yeah, it's they want, like, a society where everybody's, like, equally, like, oppressed.
So it's
right?
kind of like 1984.
Where we're all just victims
Of the evil whitey or
you know.
something.
Yeah, I mean, these progressives don't do class analysis, so, like, they're stuck with blaming Christianity for their problems or blaming white people for their problems or whatever, you know. Yeah, or men or whatever, you know, or biology, you know, being oppressive toward. Yeah, like real science, not Freudian, like, psychoanalysis, like actual science.
Yeah, essentially what it is. How would you think communism would deal with this whole mess of the progressive? Okay.
Well, we have gulags, you know.
Gulag, true.
Oh, true.
No, I'm joking.
But how?
What do you mean deal with?
Like, how deal with, like, dealing, like, their philosophy and their analysis and.
Well, I mean, deal with their philosophy as far as that goes. I mean, if they want to believe that nonsense, I mean, they're just being intellectually dishonest. I mean, they'll just have to live with themselves, you know.
Yeah,
that's not going to be tolerated.
Their own mentality.
You know, like, yeah, a college in communism is not going to. Like, a university, that's not going to be accepted. I mean, there's not going to be that kind of shit is not going to get taught, and it's not going to get any respect.
This is not theory. This is an actual communist theory. Get out of here.
And also, I mean, it's going to lay the groundwork for a society that doesn't produce people like that, you know. the alienation that capitalism causes. I mean, obviously, it won't be there, and that's a huge factor in the development of, like, the destruction of spirituality and the destruction of the family. Because if you communal society, you have to understand, a commune is just the extended family. You know, in Marx's critique of Christianity, he said that, you know, the secret of the Holy Family is the earthly family, that we're just projecting our values onto a deity. But all communism is projecting the unit of the family onto a way to organize society. I mean, the commune is just the extended family, right? Stuff. It's just the village. Yeah, a commune is just the village, and the village is just the extended family.
Can't do jack with like all this transgender, gender neutral.
Yeah, I mean, the basic unit of all society is the family.
Yeah, of course.
No matter what ideology you have, I mean, that's just an obvious truth, you know.
Common sense.
Yeah.
From family, you have the extended family, then the clan, then the village, or whatever, and then you have, races or nations or whatever. But I mean, those are like nations or socially constructed entities. But and even the foundation, the basis of a nation, you can reduce it to just the family. I mean, everything can be reduced down to the family.
These people.
Humans naturally organize into groups. Like, libertarians have this weird individualist philosophy of, like, especially objectivists. I don't want to, like, strawman all libertarians, but especially objectivists, like, they'll say, oh, if you throw a rock into a group of people, you're hitting an individual, you're not harming the group. But it's like, groups and collectives are not some boogeyman. I mean, that's what humans naturally do as animals.
We need groups.
That's how we survive, and that's what a family is. You know, we cooperate.
I know all the libertarians in the comments are like, look at all these collectivists if we find any. If they...
Yeah, you know, so to a return to that type of society where it's a society of role models, you know, a society that promotes the best in people, it eliminates the alienation and the sorrow that causes people to go nuts, you know, and want to chop off their genitals, and, you know.
I want to use the same bathroom as this girl over here because I think I'm a girl. Or...
Yeah, I saw that over news the other day. The federal government is, like, forcing those bathroom laws.
I know the Senate, like North Carolina, just went no, and and I think Mississippi too, and a bunch of people are throwing a temper tantrum over it.
This is gonna be a question for basically everyone in here. Everyone. So like when people like to argue about the whole gender neutral bathroom issue, they like to say, oh, you know how we talk about how there could be a pedophile who pretends to be a transgender person. He goes in there to like do something sick to children or to people. So that there's this argument made by this progressive that says there could be a pedophile anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's still going to be illegal. That's what they
so stupid. Say. That's so ridiculous. That has nothing to do with the argument. Obviously, pedophiles exist. We can't like remove them from existence. They're all going to exist, and they're probably always going to exist. Honestly.
Yeah.
Even in communism, I mean,
someone's gonna get mentally.
Some people are just born wrong, you know, and hopefully we can identify that and treat that before something happens. But I mean, you can never. But anyways, to get back to the point, like, that's not the point of the argument. The point is that it enables people to be able to do that. It's easier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ask any of these fucking, like, progressives, especially men, because women are, like, the women progressives are, like, totally irrational.
They're even worse.
I might get shit for that, but I don't care. But ask any of these men, like, okay, do you want your 9-year-old daughter to go to the same bathroom as a 40-year-old, you know, 6 foot 300 man in a dress? You know, just ask them that, and see if they pull the same bullshit argument of, oh, well, there's rapists everywhere. You never know.
Exactly, and like, the thing about it is, it's easier to like molest a little girl or something if you're going in. You know,
yeah, that's the whole point. Is it enables it? It makes it easier. You know.
Yeah, I've heard that some little girl who was like who was choked out in the bathroom by some transgender. They're having a hard time trying to arrest the guy simply because they can't tell whether or not he was in there to harm the little girl or because he's actually a transgender. Nobody knows it.
I don't know. This stuff is just disgusting, man. It's just terrible, you know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think the states have any power to do anything to the federal government about it. I think the feds are going to get their way this time, just like they did with gay marriage, you know.
They forced it on everyone.
Virginia tried it.
Yeah.
A couple of others tried it. It didn't work.
You know. And I'm not some American patriot. I don't care about the feds. I don't care about, you know, states' rights or whatever. But I understand the Constitution. I've read it. I know what and the Supreme Court is not there to make laws, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just like I heard you guys talk about the Fed. I mean, the Constitution gives Congress the authority to coin money and regulate the value thereof. You know, not the Fed, not the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's wrong.
I think it's as far as people think, like, I don't think the Constitution has ever really been respected as a document, even during the beginning of America. I think that, if you honestly, if any group that is, like, anti-Marxist that wants to, well, that's not Marxist, that wants to do any substantial, like, change in, like, American legislation, would be, like, the constitutionalist movement, you know, because the Constitution restricts a whole hell of a lot of stuff. I mean, we're talking shelves full of ridiculous, you know, bureaucratic, like, paperwork that shouldn't even exist, you know.
Yeah.
If the U.S. just returned to the, well, not returned, but actually upheld the Constitution, I mean, this stuff wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? This is just basic stuff.
True.
People have just let go by because I don't think American citizens really care about the Constitution.
They don't, you know, it's, you know, in fact, most Americans don't even know their history, which is kind of a sad thing, too.
Yeah, I mean, like, kind of like what Manuel said, we should start holding up more constitutional values.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are like libertarians and like alt-righters and stuff, and like right-wingers, and I think the basic step to get any victory in that type of movement is like a return to the Constitution movement.
Yeah, and another thing, I think there needs to be a constitutional convention to put a base moral code, like don't murder somebody, don't steal.
Some common sense.
And also like stuff like yeah, and then like banning like some of the crazy homosexual stuff.
Also, I think that if you want to do that, you have to federalize the Constitution and you have to eliminate state constitutions, because most like gun laws, like repressive. This is just an example. Most like repressive gun laws are actually state laws. There's no like federal gun bans. It's just states that do it. You know, like in California and all that. You'd have to federalize the Constitution. You know, just add in the preamble like this document shall be the supreme law over all the states in this union, and that would solve pretty much, you know, all these problems with the Second Amendment and with state legislatures trying to fight, you know, federal legislature. That's probably more appealing to Delta because of his authoritarianism. I don't know about you guys. You guys probably wouldn't like that.
I actually am kind of.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I actually agree with that too. I am kind of authoritarian. I know my flag doesn't look really authoritarian, but if you look at the side, I am kind of authoritarian.
I don't know. I came on and I saw Gadsden "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and
Ethan's got a grenade.
Yeah.
Mine looks like Texas.
I was like, yeah. I think that federalism and liberty. I mean, people will eat anything nowadays. I mean, you guys could combine federalism and like right-wing liberty movements together, and it would work.
Yeah.
That's what George Washington was, if you think about it.
But I mean, the Whiskey Rebellion. I mean, he was shilling for Hamilton. I mean,
Oh yeah, I don't like Hamilton.
They did have a flag for the Whiskey Rebellion. It's nice.
I actually wrote an article on it. I think Delta's seen it.
Oh yeah, but I did get the flag though, Manuel.
Yeah. Yeah, Washington's weird, man, because this is like a time before parties, but I think Washington, like, was really more of a federalist than people think.
Yeah.
That might have to do with just his background as like a military general, you know?
I agree, and you know he had more discipline.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta get a headache. I'm probably gonna mute myself and go take some Tylenol.
That's
or
fine.
something.
No, Cinerite and I can talk. Like Manuel too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been just like running on. I've been like traveling on.
Oh,
Sorry
that's
about
actually
that.
okay.
That's
Oh,
fine.
that was cool. I'm gonna get something to eat.
We have like a list of
Yeah.
topics, and usually it's random. You know what I mean?
Oh, what is your view on the cuckold thing, man? That show, like,
The cuckold show that you guys are talking about, I don't know
Bell
anything about it. I don't.
like Alex. I think it's like on InfoWars or something like that. From what I got a link.
I don't know anything about it. I don't really
like
care.
Adulterous behavior.
I mean, American media is just like degenerative and terrible. Like, look at any sitcom you see. What do you see in every sitcom? Like, the dad is like a pathetic, like, fat pussy who like gets ran over by like his strong, independent wife. You know, like the dumb dad is always like the butt of every joke.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true.
yeah, it's not like back in the '50s where it was like a strong male figure. Now it's like more.
Even the Ghostbusters
Yeah,
movies been
you know.
jacked.
My feminist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say by feminists. I mean, I think this is just the natural progression that capitalism does. Like, I don't think there's like some like secret movement like the like cultural Marxist feminists or whatever. I think this is just with the development of global economy and with the development of like empire and all this stuff. I think this is just the natural progression. You know, capitalism historically does go through. You have your, you know, good old days like, you know, the 40s or the 50s, you know, salute the flag, respect mom and dad, kind of, if you work hard, you know, the American dream. And it does always tend to turn into decadence, you know. Too many useful things turns into too many useless people.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like
That's interesting.
And that's actually, I don't know if you know fascist history, Delta, but the decadent stage of capitalism is one of the big targets of fascism because they saw, you know, like the bourgeoisie as like these like wimpy Jews, you know what I mean? Like these feminine
degenerate
little,
beta cucks.
you know, yeah, these little like degenerate little betas who like make their money off of, you know, usury
shit,
and
whatever.
whatever. You know, that was a fascist like argument against capitalism, was the decadence that it produces, you know.
Yeah,
All the
and
movements
that's also
the movements were so different in number of lives from Britain, but you could easily say that from the Marxists. You could easily say that, oh, it's from all movements in general. So a lot of movements made similar arguments, if you think.
And if you look, I mean, the only development that any fascist country ever made was in like war technology.
War
Shit,
trickles.
you know?
War technology trickled down
Like-
to the civilian populace later on.
Well, it trickled down in the form of like police state measures. But like, for example, like there would be no such things as like microwaves in fascist Italy. I mean, even though they had the means to produce them or whatever, you know, they have this social doctrine of like ruggedness and life is a struggle and natural selection is like an extreme meritocracy and the fascist utopia, like of man reborn, you know, from war or whatever.
kind of like Starship Troopers.
Yeah, you know, Starship Troopers was actually like a parody
Oh, really?
of like fascism.
Oh.
Yeah. Starship Troopers was a parody of like fascism and like authoritarianism.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my view on that, yeah, it's because of globalism and decadence, and I actually do think.
Yeah. That globalism though is like just capitalism just has a tendency to just do that. It's not something like imposed by like some secret force. It's just the natural development of globalization and global economy and the profit motive and falling rate of profit and the need to have labor for the cheapest. There's a reason why manufacturing's moved to the third world. It's not because of like status taxes. It's because
it's the government.
That's just the natural development of capitalism. I mean, they have to find the cheapest labor source possible.
It's pretty true. It's interesting. It's just they go like like all the libertarians. They'll say, "Oh, it's because government regulations and everything's the fault of government."
Yeah.
Which it's cringe at that point.
I think it was better back, in biblical. That's actually, if you notice my flag, that actually has a gyro on it.
I don't know what that is. I've never seen it.
It's kind of like a Christogram.
Well, what are your thoughts on democratic socialists?
Oh, one. No, I'm sorry.
No, not a one. Just democratic socialists.
Let's not drag him into anything.
Not mentioned.
His name shall not be mentioned.
He cannot be named, we say.
We can't pop his ego bubble.
How was somebody talking about me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But democratic socialism, period.
Manuel is not a Marxist. Manuel, you're not a Marxist.
Yeah. That guy is like, obsessed with
took a break and now you're not a Marxist anymore, according to him.
That guy's
actual
crazy.
democratic socialism.
No.
Its system, its philosophies, and
democratic socialism is just nonsense. I don't see it as anything. It's just a meme. It's like we want capitalism without capitalism. Just like I want gives me that, but I also don't want to like do revolution.
That annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah, like just basically just free shit, right?
Yeah.
It's
yeah. What did you feel on Stalin?
I can go on and on about Stalin. I mean, I've studied him perfectly, but
what he contributed to Marxism, if you want
to. He did a lot of good. He did a lot of bad. I mean, like a lot of Marxists aren't honest when it comes to Stalin.
He didn't do nothing, or he was terrible, like in the.
Yeah. I mean, he made mistakes, and he also did a lot of good. I don't.
How about Tito?
Tito's like,
oh man, I missed that.
I'd guarantee it'd be like big revisionist according to the law.
No. I don't know. He wasn't a Marxist. I mean, he wanted to build socialism from IMF loans. You know what I mean? And like mixed economy, which is it's not Marxism. Tito was more of a nationalist than anything. Yugoslav, nationalist. Yeah, just keeping together Yugoslavia.
Which I believe that concept's good.
I don't see him as some like big like socialist figure. I think he was just like a nationalist.
How about Robert Mugabe?
Nut job.
Oh, we took all the land away from white people just because he didn't like whitey, and there was a bunch of famines.
I mean, well, you have this trend in Africa, especially, of like these anti-imperialist movements that like, what they did was they would like revolt, right? And they'd be like anti-imperialist, which I mean is cool, but they're not really. They're just like nationalists. Like they want national development, independent economy, right? This is like the people in Venezuela, right? The Chavistas, they're not really like Marxists. They're just like it's like the national bourgeoisie like just wants independence. You know what I mean? And what these African revolutionaries did was they just, like, as soon as they would start fighting, they just kind of, they called themselves, like, Marxist-Leninists or whatever, like, socialists or communists. I mean, so they could get aid from the Soviets. It's really the only reason they did that.
I was about to say, what do you think of, like, Angola and Mozambique and those countries that became, like, socialist states?
Yeah, I mean, those countries weren't, those revolutions in those countries weren't communist. I mean, they called themselves that so they could get, you know, guns and cash from the Soviets, and they could get protection. You know what I mean? Like the Cuban Revolution. The Cuban Revolution wasn't a communist revolution. It was an anti-colonial revolution. It was an anti-imperialist revolution. Later on, you know, the Communist Party took power. And I mean, Castro declared, you know, a Marxist-Leninist, and he actually did do communism. I mean, that's one of the examples of an anti-colonial revolution turning into a communist revolution. But these revolutions, especially in Africa, I mean, they were just like anti-colonial ones. I mean, they just called themselves Marxists, you know, like so they could get free shit from the Soviets. And the Soviets knew that. I mean, it was another foot in the place of the empire as a post-Stalin Soviet Union.
It is considered to be very empire kind of esque in almost everything.
Yeah, the post-Stalin USSR was just an empire. I mean, there was no... Communism had been abandoned by Khrushchev, you know. There was no... They didn't continue to spread revolution. They just wanted to...
So, does communism, do you believe that it requires blood?
As of right now, yes. Marx wrote once that, you know, force is the midwife of the new society, you know. Democracy and trying to, like, use the state that the capitalists already own is not going to work. I mean, that's social democracy. It's nonsense, you know. But we do have to look in the future, you know, and conservatives do have a good point when they talk about how, like, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? That is true. That is really true. And there might be a point in history where, you know, there is no revolutionary people because everybody is comfortable at a level, even the third world, you know. This labor aristocracy is already growing in the third world as we speak, you know, so it's kind of now or never as far as violent revolution goes. By the time my grandkids are retired, like, if there isn't a revolution then, I don't think that violent revolution is going to be the best solution to bring about communism. I think we'll have to rethink our strategy, you know. We might have to do, like, entryism, you know, or something like that. But as of right now, yeah, violent revolution is the only way to bring about a communist system.
So what if it was like a capitalist society that was really high moral and had post-scarcity technology?
Well, then it wouldn't be capitalism, because you can profit from that.
Yeah.
You know.
So what would your...
That's one of the... That's why capitalism is so irrational, you know. It's just an irrational, crazy system, you know. It's full of contradictions. It collapses constantly. It's a system driven by the wrong motives, and it's not economically rational. It's just, I mean, it's economically rational from the axiom of profit. Like, if profit is your goal, you know, like, why feed the poor when, you know, you're throwing away money? That's economically rational, but economically rational from, like, the humanist standpoint is doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not interested in profit, so I think the poor deserve to be fed. You know,
and you know, I agree with you, and I disagree because my view is like, people should be allowed to own their own property, but I don't think that it's the at the same time I don't believe people should be exploited either. Usury. I'm against usury.
Usury isn't the only form of exploitation, though. Stolen labor is the main form of exploitation. Usury really is just, that's just the finance capital aspect of capitalism. I mean, there's two halves to capitalism that are constantly fighting. It's finance capital and productive capital, right? Exploitation in the Marxist sense doesn't apply to just usury. It applies to production, too, People's value is exploited, just like in, you got people in the third world who, work for 25 cents an hour and build Nike shoes that sell for like $80. Then again, I mean, the labor theory of value, I think, needs to be questioned, needs to be improved or replaced. But, the attack against usury, too, was another, like, traditional, like, kind of fascist thing, as, like, physical labor being noble and manly, right? And, like, banking and stuff being, like Jewish and, like, lazy,
That's basically kind of my view, but my view is also from a biblical sense. I think we should actually... I would consider myself an extreme reactionary. I think we should go back to, like, very, like... I don't think this could work exactly, but I think we should go back to, like, nomadic and kingly ways and things of that nature.
You mean like Dark Enlightenment stuff?
Yeah, yes. I would consider myself sort of a Dark Enlightenment fascist, kind of. That's actually my new ideology.
Yeah, that's, I get where you're coming from. Those sort of strands have been popping up lately, evolving out of, like, what fascism was, like, traditionally, like, with Mussolini or with Hitler or whatever. And when I mean fascism, I'm using a broad term. I don't mean, like, a ideology.
And those communists do that. They just make it a general, including National Socialism or...
Yeah. But I think really, I hate to say it because the word is so ugly, the word fascism, but I mean, a lot of what people project their ideals onto in fascism, I think a lot of those ideals that fascism promises people are just inherently communist. I mean, I think that the return to... I don't know, it's hard to explain because fascism is so vague, yet it's so beautiful to some people. The return to masculinity, the return to the nation and struggle and, labor and all that.
Well, that's what the libertarians say. It's socialism. They go, see, socialism right there. The dictionary.
There's the famous quote of the German worker who said, yeah, I love socialism, but I also love my nation, National Socialism. Right? Why can't I have both?
That's basically my view too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a famous, thing that National Socialists, had back then. Nobody really knows about. Nobody really studies any of this stuff. I mean, they call themselves these labels, I'm a National Socialist or fascist. They don't really study it,
Well, I think like groups like the American Nazi Party are probably really badly represented.
Oh, dude, but I mean, those groups are like, they're all CIA.
A lot of groups like that are like ridiculously fringe.
What do you think of Donald Trump? Too.
What's up?
I think some of those groups are actually called by the ADL. Like, they seem like...
Dude, I mean, the majority of those groups are just COINTELPRO. Like, there was even one Nazi group who, their candidate for the presidency is like an ex-police informant. Like, openly.
Justice Saul? Oh no, he's not a Nazi.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
I don't really care. I think he's no different than any of the other politicians.
Yeah.
What do you think of Bernie
And all his supporters like, give me
Sanders.
dad.
He's a social democrat and a Zionist. You know. I don't know. I mean.
Oh yeah, do you think we could also discuss the Israeli-Palestinian conflict?
Oh, was this going to be a
Was
debate
it?
for that or something?
No, I never really planned any physical debates. I was referring to economics.
Yeah,
but
what-
we can...
What topics do you guys got? I mean, I don't want this to just be like a Q&A. Like I'm just like the token Marxist, and you guys just ask me questions.
You can leave anytime you like, though, too, if it just gets boring or anything.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's interesting. I think you guys are smart guys when you're not like venting or shit. I think you guys are can be intelligent when you want to. You know.
Thanks.
Yeah, same thing with you. I mean, like, you know, it's like, my only problem is with these, what do you call them? These, you know, like neo-progressive
What do you wanna call
social
'em?
justice warriors.
Yeah, really, you know, that's the silent minority. I mean, those people are crazy, and I don't think they represent any of my beliefs.
How about Jason Unruh? What's your view on him?
I mean, I know him personally. You know, I mean,
You actually met him?
we not in real life. I mean, like online. I mean, we're friends. I mean, we talk and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know. He's doing his thing. I'm doing mine. I don't like hate him or anything. I mean, we're cool. I don't know what you guys think about him.
What was it?
Oh, we call him.
What was like we're always making jokes like Fatty Untrue or something like that? We're taking a stab at everybody. I'll take a stab at Nero too.
I mean, I guess that's just ideology. I mean, that's just.
I got a problem with, okay, I'm not going to say his name.
Oh, Louis.
I mean, Louis, he's a nice kid.
Oh, my
but, like,
libertarian.
he's
Like, it's the
something-
government. Like, I always viewed him as like a Skyrim drone. I'm gonna name names in that case.
Well, I mean, my problem is, like, he seems like he cucks to some things,
Well,
like,
that's a libertarian thing
You-
I've
you know-
noticed.
like, I'll tell you what he cucks to, like, what was it, like, that's
Oh,
racist
that.
type thing. Well, I mean, I'm not the kind of guy who just goes around saying that's racist, like, you know.
Is this still
no, I'm
live?
just recording it.
Oh, okay, yeah, my thing, like,
It's part of the new
I'm not
format.
racist,
I'm doing a
but,
new
like, I
format.
think
It's not on like
my
live
feelings.
hangouts or anything. Because I really don't like
Hey, who's the edgiest YouTuber
Brandon
you used that
Nero.
was?
Ugh, man, he's like totally off the fringe attention. Just
I live life on the edge. I remember Rex Tex was telling me that was hilarious.
I think he's just lost his mind. I'm gonna say that.
Wait, who's more edgy? Who's the most edgy person on here right now?
On this
That's
call?
hard. To get.
Yeah.
Probably me and Manuel.
Like,
if you
is
really
it,
want
like-
to do that, like two edgy ends of the extremes. If you want to get like that libertarian kind of thing.
Yeah, but I already, like, just recently said I'm, like, for dark enlightenment and all that. That's hardcore.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not unintelligent. It's not stupid. I mean,
I know.
I get where it comes from. Yeah.
I'm glad you understand that, too. Like, I'm not, like, some, like, nut who just says, yo, man, let's just abolish democracy and just bring back
Gangs
kings
and
and
shit.
shit. No. Like, I'm not, like... I have good arguments for it, but, you know, I could really... I'm just trying to preserve, you know, national culture.
Preserves.
You know, and also, you
Preservation.
know, my take.
That's not a bad goal at all.
Yeah, and like, you know, there's different. It's not, like, I'm very pragmatic too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm extremely pragmatic. That's where. In fact, I think. Have you ever read the writings of Mussolini?
One.
Yeah, I have.
I own,
I
like,
own those
one.
ratings. Yeah. It's
kinda
interesting stuff.
I'll
Really
have to
is.
go back and read it again because it was like a lot of info in one. It was a lot of information in one small. Well, there's an audiobook I found too. If you guys
You ever
want to go,
read
I can send a link.
You can send me a, like,
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned Mussolini because he contributed a lot to that kind of stuff, and people don't really know that. Nobody really
they think
studies that
just
stuff.
fascism, and they get this negative thing, and I'm like, he contributed to a lot of different groups.
in fact, I can't even call myself a fascist. More or less, people call me a fascist. That's how I just kind of graduated.
You have to get though, with Fukuyamaism, with like liberalism and capitalism as like the norm, anything that criticizes like any outside
Communism,
ideology,
fascism,
right,
anything.
Yeah.
is just stereotype.
Fascism,
It's
Gaddafi,
just, yeah, it's
paleo-
just all based on stereotypes. You know, fascism, they think military dictator. Communism, they think, you know, Mao killed 500 trillion people. It doesn't work in theory, sounds good in practice. You know, monarchy, they just think, oh, it's just someone says that God made them king.
Divine right.
You know,
That's a principle within old European monarchism.
Yeah, and when people hear, you know, like Nazism, they don't really look into National Socialism. They just think, you know, oh, Holocaust. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my view, more or less, is like any type of rule can work if it's with moral people. But the thing is, like, there's a study that's done, like, there's a lot of people who are sociopaths and psychopaths. That's why everything gets screwed up all the time.
People are just crazy in general.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, I think even communism can work, but the thing is, people are really sinful. So people do sinful, evil things. You know, that's just basically my view on it. And so I came up with, you know, what if all the moral people got together and mated and had their own? I think it would be. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think it's because also now, you know, smart people are not exactly mating.
Like, it's all the idiots just.
No. Well, I mean, again, the overpopulation stuff goes hand in hand with, you know, capitalist development. I mean, more hands, like in a third world country, for example, more hands in a family, in a household, means more chances of survival, right?
Yeah. I mean, I hate to use this as a reference because everyone's going to think, oh, you're shilling for Saudi Arabia. But they honestly do. I think they, in many ways, have a more...
Well, they have, like, the Sharia law, and they have, like, a...
You know, I'm talking about the nomadic, like, the Bedouins of Saudi Arabia. And, like, the Cossacks in Russia.
Saudi Arabia is an interesting culture. Like,
yeah.
Saudi Arabia is, like, one of the most first world nations in the world. It's more first world than America. Right? Saudi Arabia's entire economy, their entire economy is speculative capital, usury, you know, risk return stuff. It's nonsense. It's based on nothing. It's not based on, you know, commodity production or anything. They actually have to import labor. They have to import, like, Palestinians to do their labor.
Oh, yeah, I know that, but I'm saying, like, the nomadic culture, you know, the nomads. People. Yeah, Bedouins. I really admire them.
Yeah, but I mean, the Al Saud kingdom, it's not like...
No, definitely not.
The whole state is just American base. I mean,
I'm not a big fan of Al Saud. They didn't really establish themselves properly. I don't think. I think they're very immoral.
Like the Baath and Assad and things like that.
No, the Saudis, because the Saudis, they basically, the only real reason they control, the real reason it's called Saudi Arabia is because they basically killed a bunch of Shiites.
Oh, it's the Saudi family rule over the...
Well, yeah, the Al Saud, you know, family rules over.
Yeah, and I'm all for, I think monarchy could work. Like, I think, but it depends if it's a righteous
King
leader.
David and Solomon, it stood very strongly, but that's because it was a godly position.
Yeah. And
I think as far as monarchy goes, I think monarchy is totally dead. I think monarchy is just stupid.
I don't get why Spain still has it.
I don't know, because, I mean, that does depend, too, on my outlook, because I view the world from a post-Enlightenment, you know, viewpoint. Like, I accept the findings by the Enlightenment on, you know, monarchy and on statecraft and, you know, Marxism and all that stuff. So, I mean, his viewpoint might be like, yeah, it's theological, it's natural, it's a good king. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I think monarchy is just
well, not really relevant anymore. I mean, well, that's why I even think with some people I do look up to. Even like you even had people like Mussolini, Franco. Even then, I'm kind of like you on Stalin. They made critical errors that led to their ends.
And that's basically my view on monarchy. Is like it couldn't work in the United States.
That's contrary to our values to begin with.
There actually is a monarchist party in the United States.
I've heard about that. I don't think
it's like the purple something.
It's dumb.
Like
it's
called.
But should people think?
Isn't it like Purple Legion or something?
I don't know. That sounds interesting though.
I actually heard about that. It's I actually thought it was a little bit goofy.
Yeah,
I don't think
because our idea, because a lot of things that's been very ingrained into us. It may not be so much anymore. It'd be like idea of having republicanism and liberal ideas. It's just not, because contrary to a monarchist position.
Oh, it's the Royalist Party.
Yeah, but so was fascism, Delta. I mean,
Yeah, contrary to liberalism, that's true.
You can't have like a republic and have fascism. I mean, fascism is not representative democracy.
So.
Oh well, I don't consider a republic a democracy. I would say like the United States would be governed by the Constitution, and like there would be like a leader who would kind of oversee the things. Very light bureaucracy.
Yeah, but the problem with that leader, and if the society were to uphold that, it would be an extremely enlightened, society. People would be intelligent and smart. I don't think any kind of like the level of federalism that exists today, like that the president has, the power that the presidency has. In theory, I'm not gonna get into Marxism and like political ownership by the bourgeoisie or anything, but let's just say in theory, like the amount of power the presidency has, I don't think it would be at all near to what it is, what it would be if it was constitutionally governed,
Yeah.
Because you have a separation of powers in the Constitution.
That is true.
Yeah.
It would actually be very hard to,
And imagine, like, in a post-party, like, Congress, like, what we had before parties, I mean, it'd be impossible to get anything done.
Yeah, because like people can't make up their minds, I think, and that's my I think Gaddafi. Have you read the Green Book?
Yeah, I've read the Green Book and the White Book.
He wrote. What was the White Book? I haven't seen that one.
The White Book was another book that he wrote.
I've never heard of it.
The Green Book is very interesting. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I'm surprised, man. You seem like a really smart dude. You're into a lot of the same stuff that I am.
Yeah, I've read the Green Book. I've read the.
Younger brothers running in the rooms.
I mean.
Seems like a shit.
Yeah, Gaddafi's White Book was his like platform on the Israeli issue, on the Israeli-Palestine issue. That's what it was.
I'm trying to remember what he proposed. Was some like federation? I've heard some people say, or something like that. I'm like, that can't be.
Yeah, I think he did propose some like federation. I don't know, but Gaddafi wasn't a Ba'athist either, So he didn't propose like some Arab.
But yeah, I think Gaddafi has a lot to offer for Dark Enlightenment, things like that. Specifically with his.
What?
One interesting thing about Gaddafi.
Your mic's being like a shitter. Yeah.
Center right. Oh, my views on Gaddafi.
Wait, hold on. Connected. Yeah, what?
Technical difficulties, folks. Sorry.
There's gonna.
Fix your sheet, center right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Gaddafi, wait, center right, you were saying?
More tech problems from center right. We run into these sometimes.
Wait, could you?
Bug center right. What's going on over there?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think Gaddafi is definitely underestimated. Everyone thinks, oh, he was just this crazy guy out in Africa.
In Ooga Booga Stan.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Gaddafi. Before he died, he predicted that floodgate in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. And my view on like the whole thing is, I think there's times where people naturally integrate. But this is being forced on Europe. They want. I think there's a conspiracy to deliberately to bring in all these refugees.
Like the forces causing the conflicts and causing them to run away. Then.
Yeah, I think it may even be a conspiracy to actually start a third world war. But that's another topic. I'm not going to get into that.
Well, that's an interesting one, though, because I think those refugees from like, the Ukraine, and like everyone's just blowing them off. I don't know. Like.
Oh yeah.
It's probably because they whitey.
My. Yeah. Well, Gaddafi. You see, back in Poland, there was you know what the Tartars are.
They're like in Crimea and like all like Tartars. They're like Turks, I think. They're like
they were Muslim at one point. Yeah. Now the ones in Poland are mainly Christian. You see, they actually gradually integrated, but you see, that's because they wanted to be Polish. A lot of these people, they shouldn't really let them in because a lot of these people don't really want to be in Europe. It's kind of it gives me that thing, and it's also, they're just fleeing to the countries with the most loot. Yeah, loot and plunder.
They're fleeing imperialism, is what they're fleeing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a deliberate thing to drive them out of their nation.
People can say that it's not Europe's fault. It's it's the Jews that control or the government or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it is these countries waging war on these people. I mean,
I wouldn't so much say it was the Jews.
But that's generally that's just an example of a conspiracy.
Yeah, I know.
That deflects guilt off.
You're giving an example, but I mean, my view on it is that it's the Freemasons and groups engaged in occult groups. I believe that that Europe has been, since the Enlightenment, overtaken by groups, organizations, secret societies involved in the occult. And Zionism, they have elements of that.
Like the left-wing faction, you said, like America? Like labor?
Well, yeah, the Jacobin left was initially founded...
the whole terror.
I have a whole history on that. It's very complicated. There's a lot of books on that. There's Carrie Bolton's The Psychotic Left. There's a book by a man named William Guy Carr. Wait, I gotta...
The age. Today's...
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, there's a book by a guy named William Guy Carr.
Hey guys, I'm gonna eat dinner. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay. Any of you guys ever heard of
another alt-right hangout tomorrow if we could?
Okay. I really need to take some time on it. I got like crap. Oh shit. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. You guys ever heard of William Guy Carr?
No, I haven't heard of him.
He wrote a book called Pawns in a Game. Some people, that's just a conspiracy. I really think it's a legit book. I would highly suggest anyone go check it out. I think that history, from my studies of the Bible and from my studies of different literature, is very esoteric. I think that history definitely is, it has problems, that are promoted by some groups intentionally. I'll be back. I have company.
Take care of the company. Oh, that's fine. It's generally gotten very boring.
What's gotten boring?
Yeah, I might eventually cut it off at some point. Well, like Opinion Center, right? We're planning on doing another. I'll still upload this, like it's a unique edition.
Okay, I'm back.
No.
Okay, are we done recording?
If you wanted to, if you can.
Okay, yeah. So my view, I am going to get called a conspiracy nut by a lot of people watching. I kind of expect that. I've done research on topics like satanic ritual abuses. Do any of you know what that is?
I wouldn't insult you and call you like a conspiracy nut or something, but I just disagree very much. I think that those theories are just ridiculous. But I mean, that's not like an insult to you.
I know you're not trying to insult. I mean, there's people who literally would just say, "Oh, you're just a
whatever."
Yeah, I mean, and both right and left, especially like the very liberal types, social justice lawyers and kind of classical liberals, You know, and
those anybody who calls himself a classical liberal, is
modernist liberals, all kinds of people.
Pretentious, dude.
I mean, there are some classical liberals I do admire, like a woman. I'm not going to mention her name because Delta's gonna. Like that. Lauren Southern.
I'm joking with that.
Yeah, she's really smart. I mean, it has no degeneracy there.
But I mean, classical liberalism to me is just pretentious bullshit. I mean,
it's almost like just libertarianism.
I don't know. It's not like libertarianism though. It's like bullshit humanism based on fake rights that don't exist unless you have the right to live. I mean, Stalin even has a interesting quote where he says, you know, if people don't have the right to live, I mean, rights only exist on paper, not in real life. I mean, I don't care about the right to free speech. I don't care about the right to bear arms if I don't have the right to bread and to work and to have a place to live, right? If I can't live to have those rights, I mean, those rights exist on paper. You know, they don't exist in real life. And that's what classical liberalism is. It's just a fetishism of, like,
I kind of have to leave.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right.
What's up?
I'll have to leave. You guys want to talk after the chat?
Finish it off? Yeah, I can finish it now.
All right.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I'll stop my rant.
Or you can wait till the thing's over. Is America? Where's America? There you go. Oh no, is he muted? Oh. You're saying you got company?
Yeah, I kind of got some company, but like it's not like my company. It's more like for my yeah. So
I can say. Oh, okay. So this. I'm gonna say so. This is the alt-right show. We're good. Sorry for it being so soon. Center had to go eat, and then America's got some people over right now, so it's more of a. So it kind of got inconvenienced, but we'll continue this. I think tomorrow, or whenever we get the chance to do it, and we're out.
All right.